10 weeks out, people. 10 weeks out. It's getting real now. So we move now into the intensification phase. As you can see here, this is week 1 of 6. There's more about my programming and how it works in my blog, so check that out if you want to learn more about that sort of thing. So this was Tuesday, and this was a heavy squat session. So first squat session of the week and the first squat session of my intensification phase. The target today was to get 5 reps with 157.5. A related PR to that is three with 160 kg, which I've done in the past. So this was only 2.5 off that, and I was looking to do 2 more reps of it. So, but as it went pretty easy, to be fair. I wasn't on a fantastic day. I was still holding a bit of fatigue from the week before. But for some reason my squatting felt really tidy today. My form just seemed to click, and it was spot on. More so in the warm-up sets, because obviously I wasn't near sort of maximal weights. But even with this top set, looking back on it now, the form looks almost pitch perfect. The only thing I need to work on is trying to keep my head down a bit, because again I'm trying to look up and that's the mirror putting me off. So I need to start remembering to try and squat the other way. But I'm just generally too lazy to bother to set the rack up the other way, to be fair. But I should start doing that, and I most likely will. So this is just an example of one of the back off sets that I went and did. So knocked the weight down to 140 and just did 3 sets of 5 at this weight, and then I moved pretty easy. One thing to note there, you're probably wondering what that weird wrapping is around the bar. Well, that's just my Voodoo floss band, which I use for soft tissue work on certain muscle groups. But it's got a rubbery sort of texture, so I wrapped it around the bar just to give the bar a bit more grip, because we haven't got any knurling on these bars, so in the middle, so it makes it a bit slippy for low bar squatting, and it worked a treat, to be fair. So, but hopefully we will be getting a bar with knurling on. And you can see in those sets I did keep my head down a bit more, and I did move pretty well. So this was supposed to be a close grip bench PR, but the video failed, so I didn't get any video of that, unfortunately. So this is now Thursday, and this was a very important session for me. This was bench press, but if you remember last week, I tried to do 6 reps with 100k and only managed to get 5. So this week, although the program only called for 5 reps, obviously if I could get 6, I was going to go for 6. So the warm-ups felt pretty good. Again, my benching's feeling pretty good at the moment. My position felt good. The weights seemed to pop off the chest, as I'd hoped they would do. Obviously feeling a bit more fresh now going into these later sessions of the week. So first rep felt fine. The second rep misgrooved it slightly, and I thought, oh god, no, this feels a bit heavier than I thought it would. But the third and fourth rep felt fine as well. Onto the 5th rep, moved well, and then thought, got to go for this 6th rep. So, and as it was, actually the 6th rep moved really fast. So I probably, maybe could have even got a 7th rep, but I didn't want to try and end on a failure. So I'll leave that until another few weeks to come. So then just again, this is one of the back off sets that I did. So I did 4 sets of 5 with 90 kg. Just to add in some more volume and sort of technique work, and then I moved pretty well. They were fine. So yeah, overall a good benching session and a positive start to this phase. So hopefully I'll be hitting 105 for 5 by the end of this phase, and that'll be a nice place to be. So from there I moved into front squats, which again you've seen me do last week's, but just one front squat session this week. This is 127 for 5. Now I did 127 for 6 last week, so I'm just repeating that because it did feel a bit grindy and not the best. So, but just stick at 5. Don't want to go too mad on the squats, because I want my focus to be on the main squats, not so much the front squats. These are just adding a bit more volume. So, so these felt fine. Nothing too bad at all. So again, that grip on the bar helps quite a bit. So. Yeah, pleased with those. That went pretty well. So another day wrapped up. So just wanted to show you an example of some of my accessory work that I do as part of my training. So this, for instance, is what we call a mechanical drop set. So if you take the notion that overhead pressing is the most inefficient pressing movement you can do. You would start with that and you would rep out until you can't do anymore, so you rep out until failure. Then you would lower the bench down to a slightly more horizontal incline, which is therefore more efficient. So you can now continue to rep out that same weight, and once again, after you've achieved failure, you will then drop the bench down to an even more horizontal position, which equals an even more efficient position, which means you can continue once again to rep out the weight. So this is just a way to, quite a nice way to increase time and attention with pressing movements, just so I can get a bit more volume, especially sort of shoulder and incline working, because I don't do a lot of that as it is. So, and another one that I do is face pulls. And face pulls is something that I try and do every session if I can, because I do a lot of benching, and for those who bench a lot, they tend to get quite kyphotic in their posture, so they round over at the front. And face pulls just kind of offsets that by developing the rear delts and also keeping the rotator cuffs nice and healthy. So if you're a big presser, then do some face pulls. That's my advice to you. So on to Friday's training, and starting off this training day with floor press. Floor press is quite a useful bench press accessory exercise. What it basically does is you have to pause on the floor for a start, where you rest your elbows down on the floor. So you have to press from a dead stop, and you also have to lie completely flat, so you don't get the use of a leg drive or an arch, which is obviously something that I use to good effect in my regular benching. So I'm just adding this in now as kind of a transitional exercise towards my competition pause bench press, because I don't want to add that in just yet. I feel it's a bit too early to add that back in, because I can stall out on that quite fast. So this is just a pause variation that I can use to develop some sort of dead start specific starting strength without the need to go massively specific. So I haven't done this for a while. Felt really good. I always enjoyed floor press when I did it before. So looking forward to seeing how this translates to my bench press again. I'm using 3-second pauses on the floor, so it's quite a long pause. So it just gets rid of all your stretch reflex, and you really have to drive the weight up and through. So it's a good one to try when you get the chance. And then we moved on to deadlifts, which was the big exercise of the day. So keeping my deadlifts beltless, and it's going to stay that way until about 4 weeks before the meet, just because this is the only beltless training that I'm doing now, and I want to keep some in. So the aim for today was to work up to a top set of 185 for 5. To be fair, this was the day after my front squatting, and my back was still quite fatigued from doing that. So these didn't feel as fast as I hoped they would, and I knew I felt a bit tired doing these. But as it was, got through them all. I moved my stance in a little bit narrower, tried a slightly narrower stance and narrower grip, and that felt much better. So I think I'm going to persevere with that going forward. So they went pretty well. Then did some back off sets, just 3x5 at 165. And I haven't done this much deadlift volume for a long time. And I knew as soon as I finished this that I was going to suffer my back tomorrow. And as it is, I'm doing this the day after, and my back is absolutely killing me. And I think that's just because I haven't built the workload capacity up in my back really ever. So it's always been a struggle. My back's always hurt after doing voluminous deadlifts, so that's something that I need to work on. Did try and do my top set of pause squats though after my deadlifts. They were super slow, obviously because my back was fatigued from doing all the deadlifts. But looking back on the video, I'm really happy with how they looked, because my form looks super tight now on squatting. So I know that's going to translate into some big PR numbers going forward. So, but yeah, literally just did the top set 5 at 130, and then called it a day. And then me and James and the manager there in the background went out and did some prouder work, which I will show you next week probably when I get some footage of that. So, and that was it. That wrapped up the week. So thank you for watching as always. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye.